Good morning. Welcome to this edition of the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show. My name is Leon Jones. Today is Saturday, October 1st, 2016. Tune into the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show every Saturday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time right here on Blog Talk Radio. We are going to have a good show, about 50 minutes. We're going to be talking about labor unions. Are they still relevant in America? Guest call the number to the show is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show right here on YouTube so I can keep giving you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. On this channel, I don't engage in emotion or controversial topics, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. So please be respectful and keep it positive. Also, if you have a business or topic that you would like for me to discuss on Blog Talk Radio or YouTube, email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Please feel free to comment. Make sure you keep your comments pithy, no bloviating, if you wish to opine. Now on to this morning's topic. What goes on behind the closed doors of HR? HR meaning human resources. Now, you know, every workplace today has a human resources department. Now, what is human resources function? Well, human resources department, known as HR, is a critical component of employee well-being in any business, no matter how big or how small the business is. And some of their responsibilities include payroll, hiring, firing, and keeping up to date with federal and state laws. Some of the other functions are safety, employee relations, compliance, training and development, and recruiting good employees to have an adequate workforce at that organization that you intend to keep abreast or keep afloat. Now, what really goes behind closed doors in HR, we don't know. But I will give you my analysis and what I do know, because I've talked to individuals who've worked in the HR department. So, you ever wonder why HR doesn't get back to you, or you feel that they don't have your best interest? Well, here's why. HR isn't there to be your advocate. The Human Resources Department's function is to serve the needs of the business. Its loyalty and responsibilities are to the company. Now, in some cases, that means advocating for employees against bad managers, because it's in the best interest of employers to retain great employees, identify and address bad management, and stop legal problems before they explode. But plenty of other times, what's best for the employee is not going to be what's best for the employer. And the best interests of the employer are always going to win out. That's not cynicism. That's simply how it is with the HR departments. Now, HR isn't obligated to keep what you tell them confidential, even if you request their discretion. HR staffers aren't doctors or priests, and you shouldn't assume confidentiality when talking with them. If HR reps hear the information that they judge needs to be shared or used to address a problem, their job obligates them to do that. In fact, there are many cases that would be professionally negligent, or in some cases breaking the law, if they didn't do that. Now, that doesn't mean that you can never talk to HR in confidence, but you should work out the terms beforehand and make sure you document everything. And you should stay aware that HR is still required to report certain issues, like harassment or illegal behavior, even if they agree to confidentiality before hearing your report. Also, HR knows things that they aren't telling you, whether it's changes to major benefits approaching, or some departments are significantly getting more resources than others, or who in the organization is basically untouchable or who's on their way out. The Human Resources Department learns things in the course of their work that they're not allowed to relay to you. If an HR rep who you know to be responsive is stonewalling or seems to be resistant to explaining something to you, it's possible that they're simply not allowed to share something that's confidential. That said, if you're regularly not getting what you need from HR, consider pushing back or talking to a different representative. HR's job is to support a company's managers, not to dictate how they operate. Some companies give HR more power than they should, such as letting them control how other departments hire or make promotional decisions. But in general, if you're a manager and your HR department is creating obstacles to your work, for instance, making it harder for you to hire great people as quickly as you need to be, or making it difficult for you to address performance problems forthrightly, you should push back. Escalate the situation or find higher-ups in the organization who can overrule or push HR for different procedures. Lastly, your HR department might be great or it might be awful. Some HR departments are tightly synced with the company's culture and do excellent work, ensuring, for example, that managers are well trained, benefits are strong and administered, salaries are benchmarked to industry and market norms and increase when needed, and that they help rather than hinder companies' managers. Others, though, focus more on holding office parties than getting away when managers need to hire, give feedback, and handle sticky personal issues. A good HR department can help a company get more done. A bad HR department will just get in the way. But there's a huge amount of variation in human resources. So don't assume that was true at one company with HR departments where you previously worked is going to be true at the next company. As stated, HR is different. Now, is HR an important function? HR is an important function, but it's not the department, it's the people, just with any company. What you need is to have an understanding of the HR functions. First, as mentioned before, they're not your ally. They are for the managers, for the policies. They want to make sure that policies are being followed. But HR does utilize training and development. Safety is a big promotional obligation of HR. Workplace policies, that's another one, such as sexual harassment, EEO. In case there's unions, they have to be able to negotiate with unions if there's a problem, particularly when grievances are filed. So, does that mean that HR should be wielding power? No. In fact, what you need to do is utilize HR as an administrative function. Don't give them power regarding hiring, firing. That's what a hiring, firing manager should be doing. If I'm an engineer, HR doesn't know about engineers unless there's an engineer who's working in HR. I know what the job entails, who I want to fill that position. That's not HR's job. HR should not be doing any interviews. HR should be getting all the orientation materials in play when they hire new personnel, going over the benefits, just as mentioned before. One thing that HR does not need to do is try to overstep management. You want to keep management abreast of the new laws that are taking place. Employment laws, they change every day, it seems like. But you as an employee, when you go to work, You also need to understand the workplace policies. That's why when you're given a packet during your orientation period, you have to sign it. You're acknowledging HR that you know the procedures. What some people do, they'll sign the package, but they don't keep a copy of the documentation. If something goes down, this is where they are going to give you disciplinary action. I know with PennDOT, that's exactly what happened. So I tell each and every person, keep copies. Know your rights as an employee. But from this information that I've given you, and it's brief information, know that what I've presented, that's why HR doesn't get back to you. That's why HR is not for the employee. Know your rights. But HR department, depending on what company, it's still important. But it's the company's job to decide how much responsibility to give HR. You allow HR to wield power, they're going to do it. If you keep them in an administrative function, they will do that as well. Because also HR is a position that has jobs themselves. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show. Stay tuned for the radio show as we are going to talk about labor unions coming up at 12 noon this afternoon. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember to be gentle and respectful with each other, and have a wonderful and blessed day.